Roar! Give me your money and like the video! Guys, wait, don't be scared. It's just my lion onesie. I'm not a real lion. Thank you, God, for giving me the opportunity to make this video. Alright, so our first person on the list is going to be Nadine Byrne. Let's see what she thinks about the Foxy Pirates.
I'm on my One Piece journey, right? And I took a break before actually getting into the Foxy Pirates mini arc. However, Sanji is about to turn me into a fucking villain because he already done fucked up with the dodgeball. Now look at this shit.
Hey, Sanji! Touch him! You gotta touch him to win the game!
Alright, time to win this thing. Thanks for everything, old-timer.
Because if he... yo, Sanji...
Around and started running back down the trail before touching the stoplight! What is he doing? Even if she's the enemy, I can't abandon a lady in distress.
But you can, though. This made me crash out because, like, I understand this is Sanji's personality. However, this is a fucking competition. We need to get Robin back. Ooh.
Yeah. See, if you had specified rather than say, hey, guys, this is between winning the game and helping a lady in distress, it's obvious that he's going to get the lady in distress. But if you had specified this is between winning a game that gets Robin back, you got to specify the Robin part, okay? Hey, Robin or a lady in distress. I'm sure he would have picked Robin. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up. I'm on that copium pack out here, bro. Next up is Jay Simonetti. Simonetti? I don't know. All right. One Piece is undoubtedly the greatest piece of fiction created.
Crazy to say, but One Piece is the greatest piece of fiction ever made. I don't care if you like Naruto, I don't care if you like Bleach or Full Metal Alchemist or Attack on Titan. One Piece is the greatest piece of fiction. It has a better main character than Naruto, a better story than AOT. It has better action than any of the shows combined, even, I believe. It's genuinely the best thing I've ever watched in my life. People like to complain about the pacing, saying it's too long of a show, but for a show to be that good, you have to have slow parts to build up the plot and the foreshadowing. One Piece is the only show I've seen that could foreshadow something 800 episodes in advance, and it'd be the greatest foreshadowing you've ever seen. If you're one of the One Piece haters, I understand you because I was you at one point, but eventually you're going to go through all the anime and all the shows, and you're going to look for a feeling similar to your favorite anime. Then you're going to watch and start One Piece and realize that One Piece was the greatest thing the entire time, and you were hating for no reason.
Watch One Piece.
This might be...
He said it here. I absolutely love it, man. Thank you so much, Jay.
The name of the arc.
Next up, we have Morgan. Big Book Morgan. All right. Let's see what she's been up to. Oh my gosh, she looks pretty. Morgan is amazing. She also has a very strange sense of humor. I like her necklace.
Reverse mountain because things are kind of backwards. Like you have this stormy section.
You're in the reverse mountain arc and things are backwards. What an astute observation you've just made.
Surrounded by calm bells, but the stormy part is where you actually want to be. Backwards. You have to sail up and then down a mountain in the middle of the sea. Backwards. Look, this arc was a lot of fun and also gave me my first emotional breakdown moment. We meet Laboon the whale, who's blocking the way down the sea mountain, and Crocus, the old man living inside of the whale. And his story about being a physician and keeping Laboon from hurting herself, plus the backstory with a baby Laboon, that finally got me. Usopp says it best. It's the heartbreaking story of a whale who never lost faith in its friends. I mean, come on, Laboon has been waiting 50 years for his friends to return, banging his head against a cliff wall, trying to get to them. This story, plus the pictures of a baby Laboon and the scars on its head, those things all sent me spiraling. But then I had a moment of confusion because Luffy starts hurting the whale, only for us to learn that it's Luffy giving the whale another purpose, something else to wait for because they're equally matched and he's gonna come back and they're gonna face off again. It's so Luffy. The arc wraps up with us finding out more about the mechanics of the Grand Line, the different islands, the magnetic fields, and the need to record them. So things are making sense as to why each island is its own arc. But Crocus mentions the last island that only Goldman Roger has gotten to, Raftel. Although in the colored version, it's named Laugh Tale, and I have been warned that the colored version might mistranslate some things. So because I read it as Laugh Tale, I feel like that's kind of foreshadowing something. I suspect by the time the gang gets there, after this long journey, the One Piece treasure is not going to be there. And haha, how funny, Laugh Tale. So now we finally made it to Whiskey Peak, and it's a vastly different welcoming experience to what the gang's used to in the East Blue, where pirates are criminals. Nami asks the mayor how long it'll take to log the magnetic field, and the mayor says, like, oh no, don't worry about that right now, like, you've traveled so far, blah, blah, blah.
Can we take a moment to acknowledge just how good her videos are? Like, it feels like I know what's going on in the story just from her telling me that. I mean, obviously I know what's going on, but like, it feels like I like her reviews. She needs to start reviewing food. I wonder if I could taste it through her explanation. I'm gonna ask her to start reviewing food.
And it's kind of giving Lotus Eaters. If you know, you know. So I'm actually really excited to continue my One Piece journey. This is a complete shift from how I was feeling before, where I was like, okay, this is fun, but I don't really get it. This is the first arc that I've read in one sitting. So moving forward, I will be reading on the Shonen app because of that one mistranslation. Fingers crossed the fight scenes without color don't still confuse me. Is the name of the arc...
As far as I'm concerned, ladies and gentlemen, she's strapped in. I'm strapped in! Hi, Jen. Jen is amazing. We love Jen. She's one of like the best people on planet Earth. I don't know if she's the best person on Mars or Jupiter. I haven't checked there yet, but she's pretty good on planet Earth.
Manga. Maybe I'll give it a try.
Wow. Well, this is going to be my personality for the rest of my life.
Everybody?
Yeah. Okay, here we have a red-haired Mori video. Oh, this is going to be a meaty one. Oh, Lord have mercy. It's red-haired Mori. We either see her smile, laugh, have a great time, and she will cry each 3 of those things, by the way, okay? And the videos are usually long, which is better for me, because I like reacting to them. So let's go ahead and check it out.
I finished Fishman Island. Let's talk about it. I genuinely think Fishman Island might be one of my favorite arcs.
Okay.
Like, I really, really enjoyed it, and I kind of understand the criticism of it, and I know that comes from a lot of anime only watchers, so I get when certain arcs are just not done justice in the anime just because they are prolonged longer than they should be, etc., etc. But in the manga, at least, I really, really liked it. So from the very beginning, this arc is all about inheritance, and it starts with showing us that Roger was the original owner of the Straw Hat, and I thought that was so incredible. We keep seeing so many parallels between Luffy and Roger. First up, when we saw them at Logtown, with them both smiling as they're about to be executed, with people comparing Luffy to Roger. Now that Luffy has his Straw Hat, I think that is so wonderful and is...
You know what I just thought about? Roger had the Straw Hat before Luffy. Roger had it, then I guess Shanks had it because Shanks gave it to Luffy, right? We know from what we've seen in Marineford that Garp would fight Roger when Roger was a, younger, whippersnapper. How come did it not occur to Garp like, my grandson, has a straw hat. I remember that young Roger used to have a straw hat, and that red-haired Shanks also had a straw hat. Wait a sec. I feel like at some point I would have been like, something ain't right here. Like, no, it didn't occur to him at all. No, did it? Maybe. I don't know.
Just showing us that Luffy is going to get there. He's going to be king of the pirates. He's going to be. Then it also flips that idea of inherited will and asks us what would happen if that inherited will is not hopes and dreams and freedom, but it's actually pain, hatred, racism, generational trauma. And it shows us that with multiple different characters. We see it play out in the present with the new Fishman pirates, and then we also see it play out in the past with Queen Otohime and Fisher Tiger and Jinbei even. And also we see how that was translated by Arlong and Hody Jones. The Fisher Tiger backstory absolutely destroyed me because Fisher Tiger was such a wonderful character who at the very end could not let go of the hurt that shaped him. He tried so hard to do the right thing. He freed all slaves. He became a symbol for his people. Still, he could not fully escape what was done to him by humans. His refusal to accept human blood at the end isn't really something that's framed as him being wrong. It's just framed as a very tragic thing that happened. And it doesn't make him a bad person. It doesn't make him wrong. It doesn't make him as someone who made a wrong decision. It just makes him someone that is painfully human in his actions. It shows us how deep that sort of trauma can run. And in the end, he still didn't want hatred to drive the next generation, and I thought that was so beautiful. You have Queen Otohime, who is trying to do things the peaceful, diplomatic way, asking people that have been hurt over and over by human beings to let it go and choose peace anyways. She keeps pushing her people to want more for themselves, even if it is a more difficult route. Even if it means that they'll mock her and reject her, she's okay with being hated as long as it means a good future for her people. And I don't think that necessarily makes her naive. It just makes her really devoted to her cause, and it makes her someone that wants more for their people, even though they don't want more for themselves right now, because they don't think that they will ever get more. One of the wildest things that I experienced while reading this arc was the fact that we got information on Arlong that made him a complex, nuanced character, which I'd never thought that I would say, because I hated Arlong when we were introduced to him. I thought that what he did to Nami was reprehensible. I thought he was awful. I thought there was no way that I could see this character as morally gray, and now I do. And the fact that it happens hundreds of chapters afterwards is crazy to me. It doesn't excuse anything that Arlong did, and I don't think it should. I don't think that's the point, but it gives us just nuance on him, and it gives us so much context that we never thought we would get. And it really drives home how much people are shaped by their environments, and how cycles of oppression don't ever disappear. They just evolve differently with people. And I just honestly think that was so wonderfully written. When you zoom all of this out, every road leads back to the Celestial Dragons. Like, all of this is because of them. Dragons. And I think that is fucking crazy. They are still the Celestial Dragons of the world government are still these systems that dehumanize people and beings for being different, and that don't care about any of the consequences. And I just really need them to be, I don't even know what I need to happen to them. I need them to be stripped of all of their power. I need them to experience, I don't know. I sometimes Careful. Like, I feel like it's not, we don't ever want to perpetrate the hate that is done to us. But I feel like these ones deserve it. And maybe that's like juvenile of me to say, and I can admit that. But I still...
She's self-aware. I like that.
Because of all of this, I don't agree with the take that Hody Jones is a bad villain. I think he's a wonderful villain. And I don't think he's supposed to be this super powerful villain that was difficult to beat. He was just there to show us all of the deeper themes that he represents. Because if you take a step back, you realize that Hody himself isn't really the villain. It's racism, it's generational hatred, it is generational trauma, and Hody is just the physical embodiment of that.
I hope you all heard that. Generational hatred and generational trauma is the villain. I hope she emphasizes more on that.
The scariest part of all of this is that nothing directly happened to him. He internalized words he heard of other people's lived experiences and used that as hate human beings. And that, to me, was wonderful storytelling. He didn't suffer the way Fisher Tiger did. He just inherited rage from other people's lived experiences and used that to make it everyone else's problem. He did it so extremely that he ended up not even caring for the people that he's supposed to be fighting for. He perfectly embodies the theme of generational prejudice that Otohime and Fisher Tiger didn't want to pass on to people. He has no nuance, he has no empathy, he has no story, he has no issue killing his own people and destroying his hometown if it means that he can destroy humankind. All he wanted was to push his ideology and use people as cannon fodder and not care about anything else, and that was a line that even Arlong didn't cross. And that is why I think he's a good villain, because he feels so unsettlingly real. We all know people like that, or know of people like that have not experienced any prejudice, any racism, any hatred just for being who they are, but they is why I think he's a good villain, because he feels so unsettlingly real. We all know people like that, or know of people like that have not experienced any prejudice, any racism, any hatred just for being who they are, but they've heard of others that have, and they use that as fuel to hate someone that they don't know anything about. That.
Do you know how many, I'm sure this applies to a lot of people, but me personally, do you know how many Black people I have seen simply hate white people in the United States because their great grandfather, not even grandfather, by the way, your great grandfather experienced slavery, or their mom or dad experienced something negative with white people, or with just racism in general. So therefore, they will internalize that and be racist to white people. Do you know the amount of backhanded racism I've experienced black people cause to white people simply because of that? That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. In my experience, okay, in my limited experience in the United States and Africa, black people are some of the most racist people I've ever met. Yes, I've experienced more racism from black people than white people, funny enough. Which is odd, right?
That's all I'll say. Honestly, I think that makes Hody Jones a wonderful first villain to experience as we enter the new world. I think that it would have been a little redundant to show us this insanely overpowerful villain that we have to really, really struggle with like right off rip, because right now, when you see a time skip, you kind of want to give the characters a moment to show off everything that they learned, to show off who they are now, to kind of get their synergy back together after being apart for 2 years. So I think that this is a great start to the new world. Because if we met someone like Big Mom right off rip and they weren't able to beat her, it would have like begged the question of what the hell were you guys doing for 2 years if you didn't even grow as characters. So I think that this was a wonderful start to the new world. Someone that wasn't necessarily like difficult to beat, but did so much for the story to show us things that so many people have experienced, and to bring us back all the way back to Arlong Park, and to get Nami some closure too on what she experienced. Because obviously we know that she's not prejudiced against Fishman. She forgave Hachi really, really easily, and I think that this still did so much for her character too, in terms of giving her the background and nuance that she needed to understand a little bit why she went through the things that she went through. And I thought that was really great. Now, I do think that there are a lot of really valid critiques of this arc. I know that it is really, really long in the anime, and I get that. I also think that Sanji's gag is so unnecessary here. I know in my reading blog I kind of said that it didn't bother me, but after talking it through a little bit more with some really great people in this community, and also just thinking a lot more about it as I was writing all.
I'm guessing you spoke over it with Sanji haters. No, realistically speaking, that's usually what happens. As you're reading the story, it doesn't bother me. And from what I've heard from my friends who are Japanese, it's a normal gag in their culture. It doesn't bother them. Obviously, there is always that one few person, but like it's a minority of people who get bothered by it. But those minority of people tend to be very loud. Okay? Now, I don't care. I really couldn't care less about it. If I saw it in an American medium, maybe it would bother me. I don't know. Maybe if I saw it in an American series, but it's Japan. I expect things like this in Japan. Okay, so it's like whatever, it's their culture. Now, it's not to say it's excused. It's the gag. Luffy is with meat. He would do similar things with meat. Zoro is with lack of direction and swords, and Sanji is just women. So like it's a gag. You kind of have to stick to gags. It's what TV shows do, It doesn't really bother me, but like she said, it wasn't bothering her at first, and then she spoke to some people who might be Sanji haters.
For this review, I realize that it is unnecessary, and it really destroys his character in a way.
No, it doesn't. It's part of his character. And it wouldn't be character improvement if he overcame it. It would be like Naruto suddenly not liking ramen anymore and saying I have outgrown ramen. I mean, sure, that's a character progression towards something, but why? That was like one of the best parts of Naruto, It's like, oh no, Luffy grew up to not like meat, and he also likes vegetables too. Why? I feel like certain gags should say, like, you don't have to constantly progress away from everything that you are. Like, for example, another gag that's constant in the series is Law's bewilderness by how strange the Straw Hats were. I personally would not like to see a time where Law gets used to the Straw Hat. I would want to see him still be like, what the heck, man? You know, like even though he's been with them for like I don't know however long, but like let's say in the future he's been with them for like 20 years, I'll still want him to be like, what the heck? You know, like it's part of the gag. Like not everything needs to change, and not everything destroys a character. You know, I feel like we need to understand what's a core part of the character and what isn't a core part of the character. And gags simply are a core part of characters. You know, so yeah. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
That I wish it just didn't happen. There's really no defending it. Anybody else, like these people are constantly in fights. Anybody could have dealt with blood loss in a way that.
What about the fight between Zoro and Sanji? I don't want to see a world where Sanji and Zoro's family say, hey guys, we don't fight anymore. We really love each other no matter what. No, I don't want to see that. Now, would people consider that character progression? I guess. They can progress everywhere else. Leave that part. It's funny. It's nice. It's a gag. Gags are unnecessary. It's the point.
It wasn't because Sanji was preying on women. I just hate that his character is being butchered left and right. Using his gag to further the plot is honestly silly if you really think about it. And his entire training arc too that we keep being shown really disappoints me, because he was in the Kamabaka region, which is people that are supposed to be the representation of trans people, and the fact that Sanji is repulsed by them so much and that he hated that he got blood from them, like that is just very disappointing and one of my biggest gripes with One Piece.
Why is that disappointing? Now, this is not me comparing. I am specifically saying this is not me comparing meat to trans people, okay? If Luffy was stuck in an island of vegans, he would have the same experience. They're vegans. He likes meat. He would have the same experience. So, like, let them have their gag, man. Like, the thing about jokes is that sometimes people are at the butt end of jokes. People make jokes about me. That does not dismiss the fact that it's funny. It just may not be funny necessarily to me. It's a joke. That's how jokes work. They happen to be at the expense of certain people sometimes. That's just a joke. That's normal. And I don't think I would want to live in a world where jokes are policed and not at the expense of people. Now, is there a time and place for each joke? Yes, absolutely. Some jokes are just too soon. Yeah, no, that's all I gotta say about that.
But that's okay. There are not every story is going to be perfect, and I don't think that this makes Oda a bad person. I do know that there are a lot of cultural differences, and I don't necessarily think that he means to hate on anyone with this. I think that it is supposed to be funny, and that people in other parts of the world may find this funny, even though we don't. And that's okay. It's okay to have criticisms of One Piece. It is a massive story that is not going to be 100% perfect, because nothing is. And reading...
Hold on. Let me read the comments. This, I will say, as a Japanese person, the nuance of Kamabaka is a little less trans and more nebulously queer, in my opinion. The linguistic... Give me a second. Hold on. Oh my gosh, bro. I'm trying to click the more. There we go. The linguistic lines between queerness and transness are pretty vague in Japan, but Okama usually refers to anyone between flamboyant gay man and pre-up trans woman. I agree, it's in poor taste by today's standards and does a little for Sanji's character, but I think it's a bit inaccurate to translate Okama as being trans. Makes sense. Thank you for the info. Definitely doesn't change too much on his character, but I appreciate the education. It's a gag. Let jokes happen. I laugh at jokes about Christianity. And I happen to be a Christian. I laugh at jokes about black people. I happen to be black. Let it be funny, okay? Okay? I laugh at jokes about racism. It's okay. It's a joke. You don't need to be the person to find it funny, okay? A joke is still a joke.
Is subjective, and yes.
Jokes are subjective.
But all of this, to me, does not mean that this arc is bad. It doesn't mean this arc is boring at all. I love this arc. I think that structurally it does so much for the story, and it is juggling multiple narratives at once, because we have the present day conflict, but we are also shown so much flashback, and we also have Caribou lurking in the background. We have Robin exploring the Poneglyph here, and there's a lot going on in a very short amount of time, because chapter-wise, this wasn't a super long one either. On top of all of that, we have huge amounts of information dropped on us. We learn about Joy Boy, Noah's Ark. We see the Sea Kings talking. We learn that Roger and Luffy could hear them. We learn about the ancient weapons. We see changes happening within the Marines. All of this while also following the main emotional storyline, and the drops of some of the most important lore that we have heard of is fucking crazy. And the fact that Shirahoshi is one of the ancient weapons, and the fact that one of the ancient weapons is a person and not an object is really cool to me. It's something that I could have never predicted, especially because it is something that is constantly reincarnated and not just stagnant. Very, very cool. And now I'm wondering what the hell the third one is. Oh my god, the moment where Jinbei shares blood with Luffy was so beautiful, like so well done, and it showed a moment of progress, and I thought that it was so just great. The fact that both of them looked like they were at peace while they were sharing blood to help Luffy, and Luffy immediately asking Jinbei to be part of the crew right after that. Chef's fucking kiss.
Oh, dude, it would be so cool.
So,
it would be so cool if if Jinbei joined the crew. Oh my gosh, I actually want to see that.
Also, the first time that we see the Straw Hats in the post-time skip, and I love that they aren't really challenged here, because I don't think they're supposed to be. We're watching them for the first time after growing so much and everything that they learned, and it was just so wonderful to see them show off like that and really just kind of cakewalk it. Luffy knocking 50,000 people with hockey. Wonderful fucking moment. So fucking cool. And it really just shows us that he is like on another level now. He's just that guy. And I'm so excited to see what else he has learned and how much he continues to grow. And then I have to talk about Red Hawk. Luffy dedicating a punch and ability now to Ace is so fucking beautiful. What a wonderful way to show respect to a fallen brother. Oh,
shouts out to
I
Ace.
Loved it. I can't wait to see it in an anime episode because I'm gonna cry. Even though that's not even a moment that you should cry at, but it's just gonna remind me of Ace and I'm gonna cry. There are so many good moments in the end. The feast with everyone. Robin talking to the king. I hate that Caribou knows about Shirahoshi. That really drives me fucking crazy. I hate this pest of a man. I also really hated Vanderdecken. He belongs on a watch list. He was so unnecessary, really. Like, I hated his character so much because anybody that is like a fucking creep like that, creeping on children, just disgusting. Disgusting. Agreed. And we see Luffy basically declare war on Big Mom, and I'm like, we just got here. We literally just got here, Luffy. What do you mean? But him saying that he's going to make Fishman Island his territory made me so excited. And now I'm really theorizing that he's going to be one of the emperors. I don't know which one he would take out, because he's definitely not taking out Shanks. And I don't know how he would beat Blackbeard right now. So Big Mom and who's the other guy? Kaido? I think that's a fight that we're gonna see soon, and I hope that he defeats one of them, because I think it would be so fucking cool if he was an emperor of the New World. I think he is so close to being on that level of power, and I just can't wait for more. So essentially by the end, Fishman Island doesn't really feel like an island where you were supposed to beat a big bad villain. I think it was an arc to confront history, to confront prejudices that people that we have met have experienced. It was an arc to get Nami a bit of closure. It was an arc that is hopefully going to further Luffy's goal. I think that he made so many great allies in this one, and I hope to see them all come back. I guarantee that we will see Shirahoshi again, especially with how big of a plot point these ancient weapons are. And I'm so excited to see how that plays out, because what do you mean this wimpy little mermaid that cries all the time is a weapon of mass destruction? Like, that is wild. But essentially this arc really showed us how hatred starts, how it gets passed down, and how hard it is to stop it once it's been normalized for generations. But I think it did a really good job of showing that different people who experience the same things can be the driving force of creating change. And I love how Luffy and crew were able to help this island in their fight for peace and inclusion. And I can't wait to see Fishman when they can finally look upon the sun. Essentially,
Aww.
I really loved this arc, and
yeah, I did too.
I can't wait for the next one. Okay, bye. Another day.
Mari is pretty cool. I really like Mari. Like, she has really good videos. And yeah, be sure to go check out her page and follow if you haven't already. But yes, again, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, share this video with your family and friends. I just hit something. And I'll see you guys later. Peace out. Stay classy.